Major League Baseball, America's leading metaphor for how far you went during a hookup. Just 4 days after the season started, with a record 4 million viewers tuning in, it looks like the season is already at risk, with a report today that at least 14 players and coaches on the Miami Marlins have tested positive for coronavirus. And this is a real blow, because the league had been trying literally everything it could think of to try and stay safe.
There's so many things different about Major League Baseball this season, as the Pirates look to wrap up their first series of the season at St. Louis on Sunday. And check this out, your home plate umpire tosses a player from the Pirates. So new manager Derek Shelton goes out there, and new rules, you have to social distance and mask up to argue.
Corona's really changed our lives. Hand me my mask is the new hold my earrings. I mean, seriously, props to these two, because this is an expert demonstration on what it means to take coronavirus seriously. Because yes, these guys wanted to fight, but they also know that coronavirus is waiting to beat both of them up. And if these guys can remember to put on their masks before a fight, you have no excuse when you're going into Walmart. Plus, it definitely slows down a fight when you have to Purell after every single punch. If you ask me, managers and umpires should have always been arguing from 6 feet away. Because have you seen how they normally argue? I mean, look at that. This dude is literally inside the other guy's cap. He looks like a really insane dentist who's angry because his patient forgot to floss. Why aren't you going beneath your gum line? Now, unlike the MLB, the NBA has decided to reduce the risk of corona infections by forcing all the basketball players to live in Disney World for the remainder of the season, what they're calling the bubble. And as of the last round of testing, not a single player has coronavirus. So as long as the players stay in the bubble, everything should be okay. The only issue is, one player decided to visit another magical kingdom.
In the NBA, Clippers guard Lou Williams has been placed in a 10-day quarantine and will miss the first 2 seeding games of the restart. Williams was photographed at the strip club Magic City in Atlanta, Georgia last Thursday. Williams had been excused from the NBA bubble by the team to attend a funeral. Well, he tweeted on Friday that Magic City was his, quote, favorite restaurant in Atlanta, and he was not there to party but to get some wings.
You have got to be kidding me. This guy was allowed to leave the bubble for a family emergency, but then the NBA found out he went to a strip club? How did they bust him? Did he come home with glitter on his coronavirus? And I love that his excuse was that he was only at Magic City for the wings. Not for the strippers, just for the wings. Look, there are excuses out there, but guys, there are tons of places you can get wings in Atlanta. Something tells me he was actually there for the breasts and thighs. Okay, who keeps doing, like, the Black Lives Matter movements? Although you may be hearing less about them than you used to, protests are still going on around the country, in part because police brutality is still going on around the country. And the ripple effects of this movement are reaching all aspects of American life, including a long-awaited change in the NFL.
The Washington Redskins have officially retired the Redskins name and Indian head logo after 87 years. The football team announced the change following recent pressure from sponsors and decades of criticism that they are offensive to Native Americans. They are now working on a new name and design, which might take some time due to trademark issues. Warriors, Red Wolves, and Red Tails are just some of the most popular choices among fans on social media. Major retailers have already removed Redskins apparel from store shelves and websites.
Yes, after decades of resisting, the Washington Redskins have finally decided to change their name. And look, this is a step in the right direction, but it almost feels like dismantling structural racism is so difficult that instead, America is just crossing off the easier items on its racism to-do list. Okay, next item, we gotta create an equal and just society. All right, let's skip that one. What about changing the name of a football team and canceling Aunt Jemima, yeah? That should hold us over for a year. So the old name is officially gone. But now, the team is searching for a new name. And I'll be honest, I think when it comes to a new name, they gotta keep it simple, keep it safe. Change the name to the Washington Washingtons. Yeah, it's catchy, it's easy to remember, and most importantly, it honors one of the greatest Americans of all time. My man. Baseball, America's pastime and the sport Michael Jordan cheated on basketball with. The coronavirus pandemic shut down the Major League season before it could even start. But now, teams are ready to get underway, COVID style.
As Major League Baseball gets ready to resume play, it turns out they're going to be using crowd noise from a video game. The sounds will come from the game MLB The Show. The league is hoping that the crowd noises, combined with stadium announcers and all the walk-up music, that'll make it sound like the stadiums are actually full.
Yes, while it's still too dangerous to fill a baseball stadium with a real crowd, the MLB is at least going to fill it with the sounds of people watching baseball. And I think we actually have a clip of what that sounds like. Now, even though fan sounds will be piped into the stadiums, the actual fans will still be watching baseball at home. So for fans who want to recreate the stadium experience at home, there's a lot of things that you can do, to make you feel like you're actually at a game. First of all, make sure to watch the TV from really far away so you have no idea what's happening. Then, grab a beer from your fridge and rip up a $20 bill. And finally, cover your bathroom in another man's urine. Now that's baseball. I do like this idea though. In fact, I think we should apply this to other areas of our new coronavirus lives, Like a lot of us miss eating out at restaurants. So why not just pipe in some restaurant sounds while you're eating dinner at home?
Hi there. I just wanted to see if you're enjoying the food.
Well, actually, you just gave me the food, so I haven't actually tasted any of it yet.
Yeah, no problem. I'll come back in 10 seconds and ask you again while you're chewing.
Could you just come back, after I've eaten a bunch of it?
Okay, that's perfect. I'll come back at the most inconvenient moments, but then when you need the check, I'll totally disappear forever.
Sounds good. With the 2020 Summer Games postponed and social distancing taking its toll on sports, the International Olympic Committee is urging member countries to consider esports as a real sport. And you know what that means? Somewhere in Russia, a team of scientists just developed some steroids. Yeah, they are so strong, got to lift up the rest of my hand. And boy, how the tables have turned. Because for years, the Olympic Committee, they looked down on us gamers. We will not allow video games into the Olympics. These are not real sports. You think shooting cartoon characters is a real sport? Call of Duty is not a sport. It is just an immature way for kids to kill you. Then you die, then you come back, they kill you again. They're camping, clearly. And they're using like a aiming bot or something. But now, esports could be on their way to becoming a real Olympic sport. And man, I cannot wait to watch those medal ceremonies.
Please rise for our national anthem.
I'm sorry, but your medal is in another castle.
What's up, sports fans? I'm Roy Wood Jr. He's Michael Costa. Sports is back, which means we are back. Costa, are you amped to be talking sports again? I can't hear you, bro. You're on mute.
Yeah, I was saying that I'm excited.
Same here. Hockey's on its way back. Baseball's starting up again. Let's get it, man.
I can't wait. Those are my two favorite sports to ignore while I look at my phone. But the return that everyone's talking about, Roy, is the return of the NBA.
That's right. Coronavirus cut their season short right before the playoffs, but the NBA is back with a plan that's more complicated than trying to pronounce Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
The NBA hopes to shield the rest of its season from COVID-19 by keeping players and staff inside an isolation bubble. The teams will live, practice, and play in Orlando without outside visitors or fans.
Players and staff from all 22 teams participating will be sequestered in a so-called bubble at the ESPN Wide World of Sports complex at the Walt Disney World Resort. League officials hoping that will keep teams safe.
The league lays out in great detail everything from how the players will work, play, relax, eat, as well as be monitored for COVID-19 when play resumes.
There's going to have to be consistent surveillance, on a daily basis to make sure that people who are negative for coronavirus stay negative.
That's right. The NBA is going to finish their season playing inside a bubble. And Roy, I love this idea. It reminds me of sleepaway camp growing up, playing games, spending all your time together, your most trusted friends, shoving Q-tips up your nose while you sleep.
Wait. Camp?
Yeah.
Because what I'm hearing is a bunch of mostly black dudes locked up under constant surveillance. This is basically prison with less defense. And whose idea was it to bubble up down in Florida with all the cases spiking down there? What was the second option? What, to have the season in the middle of a Trump rally?
Roy, it's fine. They're in a bubble. A bubble.
Yeah, and if they respected the bubble, it could work. But the problem is that players are already breaking the rules.
The NBA is not playing around when it comes to the bubble boundaries for players who are staying at the Walt Disney World campus in Orlando. Sacramento Kings forward Rashawn Holmes says he accidentally crossed the campus line to pick up a food delivery. Well, now he's under a mandatory 10-day quarantine.
An unnamed NBA player contacted an Instagram model named Anna and invited her to the bubble.
Unbelievable. The NBA season could be at risk because selfish players want takeout and hot sex. So selfish. So hot.
It's incredibly hot, Roy. But breaking quarantine for outside food is just unnecessary. They've already got great food options in the bubble. Look at this delicious meal Denver Nuggets player Troy Daniels tweeted out. It's a cornucopia of culinary delights. Arugula, 2 bags of chips, watermelon, a roll in a giant plastic bag, a smaller thing of watermelon. Roy, that's at least 11 calories right there.
The point is, they haven't even started playing games and the bubble is already falling apart. Costa, this season is going to be like you having sex with an Instagram model. It's going to end prematurely.
Not so fast, Roy. That was in private, I told you that. But if you look at the numbers, it's actually pretty promising.
The NBA had 0 positive cases in its recent round of testing. The league testing close to 350 players living on the NBA campus at Disney World. All of the tests coming back negative.
Damn, I didn't know it was working. Yo, let me in that bubble, NBA. I gotta get in there. I'll do whatever it takes, NBA. I'll be a water boy. I'll be the kid that mops up the sweat underneath the basket. I'll be Anthony Davis's backup unibrow. Just whatever it takes. You got to let me in that bubble. You don't even have to pay me.
You know, I don't blame you for wanting a piece of that bubble, Roy. Not only is it the safest place in America right now, but based on the videos players have been sending out on social media, it looks like they're having a pretty good time in there.
Chris Paul is like everyone else embracing the outdoor life at Disney World. This is a fish CP3 caught Monday before practice.
Meanwhile, the Dallas Mavericks, they were doing a socially distant dance party on their balconies.
Myers Leonard getting in on the latest challenge. Leonard chugging beer for the second week in a row. This has got to be less than a second for this shotgun.
See, NBA players are just like us, shotgunning beers alone.
And he was fast too. He made that beer disappear like a Q-tip up your nose at sleepaway camp. Yo, Costa, I'm sold. I want in on the fun and the bubble. We got to figure out a way inside.
I'm way ahead of you, Roy. I'm already turning myself into an Instagram model so I can seduce the players. All I got to do is post this pic. What do you think about that bubble, Roy? I'm going to DM the NBA, and I've been kicked off of Instagram.
It was worth the shot.
South Korea, the birthplace of K-pop and the best place to raise a family in somebody else's house. After successfully dropping their coronavirus cases to basically 0, South Korea has decided that it's time to play ball responsibly.
Baseball season is underway in South Korea, but no fans are there to see it.
Posters posing as fans filled the seats for yesterday's opening game of the KBO League. They may not see anything more bizarre, though, than this. That's a 9-year-old inside a big baseball bubble. He walked himself from the pitcher's mound to home plate to create a socially distant first pitch.
Yes, South Korea has found a way to bring back sports in the age of coronavirus. And, I mean, it looks really safe. Look, don't get me wrong, people are still gonna die of boredom. I mean, it is baseball after all, but thankfully, they're safe from corona. I got one question though. Why are the fake people wearing masks? It just seems unnecessary. America has already shown that if you're a person made out of cardboard, you don't need to wear a mask. Also, I hope they told the announcer that those fans are made out of paper. Otherwise, that guy's gonna freak out. And there it is. Looks like it's a home run. Oh my God, that ball just went through that guy's chest. Oh my God, why is nobody helping him? You know what is also really creative? Is how they put that kid in a giant bubble baseball. I feel like they should just do this with every sport, especially the NFL. Put players in bubbles. Then when they get tackled, the ball bounces into the stands, and then the fans will get to punch the bubble back onto the field. Tell me that doesn't sound like a fun sport. Huh? And you've solved the concussion problem. Roger Goodell, call me.